This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and with the 17 days of Star Wars, we're going to discuss something I brought up in my intro video, and that is how I feel George Lucas mostly got lucky. Then it was a matter of him being good. A lot of people will tell you that he's a genius for creating this universe. You know, I give credit where credit due. He did come up with the character names, and he did come up with a lot of interesting places. But we all know, I mean, it's been known for a while that this is based off a lot of different things. Japanese folklore, religious stuff. More directly, a lot of people compare Star Wars to the Hidden Fortress, which is said to be the biggest interest, the biggest influence on George Lucas and Star Wars. Now, and again, I don't say this to say that this means that he had no clue as to what he was doing, or that he just basically was a total copycat. No. He wasn't just a total copycat at all. Let's be clear. But it did help to have that basis. But that's not even why I think he's lucky, because as I've said countless times, no idea is truly original. We all get inspired by something. It's hard to find an idea these days that someone has never done before. It's so much out there that influences, you know, will always bleed over. We'll always be influenced by something, because, you know, a lot of the movies, books, TV shows, whatever, someone else has probably done something similar that we've drawn from. So I honestly don't even really know why I brought up the Hidden Fortress thing and all that. It actually, when you think about it, it's not even something that needs to be harped on, as far as like trying to dissect whether or not George Lucas is a genius or if he got lucky. The thing that makes me feel like he got lucky, and when I say he got lucky, people don't think that I'm disrespecting him or saying that he had no real influence on shaping this universe, or, you know, creating a universe that we all love. He did. You know, at the end of the day, he still had to, like I said, establish the characters. He still had to establish the world. You know, him putting together Industrial Light and Magic and having them do the things that they did back in the 70s, which no one else did. You know, that's a monumental thing, not just for him and his franchise, but finding those guys and opening the world up to their talents has done huge for the movie industry all over, because their fingerprints are over a lot of things over the history of movies since Star Wars came out. So he has done some amazing things for movies. I'm not just crediting anything positive that he's done. The reason I say like he's kind of lucky is because it seemed like there was a perfect storm, and I think that's one of the things that you kind of need when you're establishing something like this. You know, it can't all just be about how good you are. You have to have some luck, I think, when you create such an expansive universe like you did now. He was able to, have been able to establish a relationship with two people who became two of the most iconic sci-fi characters that we know now. Han Solo and Princess Leia. Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford were in a movie that he did that was called American Graffiti. I believe it was Carrie's first movie, and might have been Harrison Ford's first movie too. And that kind of like gave him the relationship to be able to go to them and you know, have them to work with him. It also helped that I believe it was Burt Reynolds who was supposed to be reading for the role of Han Solo, I think. And it kind of helps that they didn't go with him. You know, again, he could have went with a more established person, but he went with a lesser known entity at the time, and it paid off tremendously. You know, and that the whole, if you think about it, the fact that he had a lot of people who weren't that known, who really weren't known at all at the time, were able to get them together and get this, you know, pretty much Alec Guinness was the biggest name that he had in there, at least openly. We know James Earl Jones did the voice of Darth Vader, which was another lucky move, because he didn't like the guy who played Darth Vader in the suit, David Prowse, and you know, he didn't want to have him in the movie because he thought that guy was a jerk. You know, he fit in the suit, but he just thought that guy was just an asshole. So he had to find a voice. He found a voice. He dubbed it over. It was James Earl Jones. Now that voice is very, very iconic. People try to mimic it all the time. You know, that was a big thing. Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill, not an actor. This guy was a Olympic gymnast. Never acted in his life, but George Lucas wanted somebody athletic, somebody who could do the flips and all of that you see Luke do. Paid off. Now Mark Hamill's had a hell of a career as an actor, coming from being a gymnast, but being Luke Skywalker had given him other opportunities to where now we all know him as well as the voice of the Joker. But who would have thought an Olympic gymnast would have been able to just go into that situation and end up doing a really good job at becoming, again, one of the most iconic sci-fi characters in history. Crazy. It's like, you don't really, it's when you think about it, it's like, yo, how did he get this all to fall the way it did and hit off the way it did? And then you think about one of the things that he was able to do with Industrial Light and Magic. You know, before there wasn't really that extensive special effects, and at the time technology wasn't built for such things, but he was able to find this group of talent and bring them in to do some amazing things. And if you ever go back and look at some of the documentaries about the Star Wars movies, and you see how they did stuff like the Death Star run and all of that, it's like you look at it, you're like, the fuck, these guys are crazy. You know, this guy that we call a genius, George Lucas, actually found some real geniuses that helped bring to life his franchise. And the crazy thing is, if he not had found those, where would we be in movies? I mean, I think we eventually would have got there, but that, if you could kind of say that he lucked up into being kind of the founder, so to speak, of modern day movie magic, because without the discovery of Industrial Light and Magic, a lot of films may not be the way they are. They have had their fingerprints over a lot of films over the last 40 something years, of almost 40 years. Is it 40 years? It's close to 40 years for Star Wars. In 2 years, Star Wars will be 40 years old. God damn. But yeah, Industrial Light and Magic established a lot of things that led to the creation. I mean, would Pixar be here? Things like that you have to think about, because they established a new way of doing special effects. So he had a perfect storm. He really did have a perfect storm when he created Star Wars. And you know, I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did. Do I think he's a genius? No. I've always said that he's a poor writer. I've never liked his writing. Really. I mean, as a kid, I didn't notice, but as I got older, it was like, yo, dude, you write some poor dialogue. But you know, it worked. It was bad, but it wasn't like, oh my god, let me turn this off before I fucking go nuts. You know, it was just like, it was some things in that you were like, if you really paid attention, you scratch your head. Let's just say, you know, and we kind of figured out in episodes 1 through 3 just how bad it could be, to be quite honest. And we also figured out how less of a genius he was, so to speak, in 1, 2, 3. But you know, hey, for what it's worth, the man created a great universe. You know, luck or talent, doesn't matter. Star Wars is here, and I'm very happy. But that's just my opinion on the quote unquote genius of George Lucas. I think it had a lot of luck involved, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. That I'm not mad. I'm just glad that we have this franchise, to be quite honest. But anyway, you guys hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out. Deuces.